Hey, Composing Gloves here, and today we're talking about Sytrus versus FM8. Which one's better? Which one's cooler? Which one can do more, you know? And of course, the answer is not so easy. So, image line, so let's just really quick go across feature sets. This should make things pretty darn clear as far as conclusions we're going to draw. So, vectorial. So, that's nice. You can rescale it according to your window size. Not vectorial. So, that's a bummer. You have waveform morphing capabilities. Now, I have from the ground up series, so Learn Sytrus or FM8 from the ground up if you're interested. And I have a Learn FM synthesis just in general, how to do FM synthesis series on my YouTube channel. So go check that out. But the reason I say that is because some of these features will only matter if you are an advanced user, if you know what you're doing. Most features only matter if you know what you're doing. So anyways, we have vectorial, we have a waveform morphing capability, huge deal. So you can generate very specific modulator and carrier relationships, but it also adds to Sytrus as a subtractive engine. You have 6 super powerful subtractive capabilities and things that you just can't generally do and another synthesizer nearly as easy. Like not even Harmer has something like this where it's like that easy. That'd be a really interesting thing if they included access to different harmonics. Like you could select a harmonic you want a wave shape. Oh, well, it would be a voice. It'd be a voice thing because these have harmonics in them. So that what I just said makes like no sense. But anyways, has a very, very powerful additive engine at its core. And you can come in here and even add higher harmonics and specify phase relationships. So right off the bat, Sytrus has that going for it. Now, it's got a grid and it's got RM capabilities. FM8 does not have RM capabilities. And that is, it's got filters. It's got powerful filters, RM, subtractive synthesis capabilities that are quite extensive because of the filters, an effects module built in, and it's got a few major settings for morphing. And so we come here to FM8. Well, what does FM8 have going for it? Well, FM8's got something that Sytrus doesn't have, which I'm relatively shocked that Sytrus doesn't have this, but it doesn't currently. Maybe one day. You can, let's say in Sytrus, let's go back to Sytrus. Let's say you want to do this, something like that. And you're like, oh, I want to, okay, so I'm FMing, and I want to turn this knob on and off specifically. I want to turn off 1 by 4. But 1 is going into 5 and 6 as well. Well, you can't do it. You're going to turn them all off to some degree via this. And so there's various ways to make 4 impervious to modulation, but that would affect 2. And so as a result, if you set up something as simple as like this, you can't turn off just that knob. It's impossible. I picture like a Game Boy Connect 4. You just can't automate it. And so as a result, you can't automate pitch changes either. So if you were to play some notes on 1, and you can't automate this. You can come in here to the envelope panning and try and do, well, envelope pitch and do that, and you could set the pitch. You go up to 48,000. But it's not the same as automating the ratio or the hertz. So this, unfortunately, sorry, Sytrus, you just can't do that. And so this is not necessarily, well, it's a bad thing because you can't do it, but it's not like a holdup. Like it doesn't make FM8 better because FM8 has its own issues. So let's talk about FM8. FM8, you can do that. You can come into here and you can go browse parameters. Bang. And you can move it, and there it is. You can automate the ratio, you can automate the hertz offset, and if you wanted to, you could move just this one while E goes into a number of other things. You could automate each of them individually if you so desired. And this is common if you know what you're doing with sound design. If you know about FM synthesis, this would be something that you'd probably run into. One thing that I like to, when you want to reset one of these, you can double clicking is sort of intuitive. You can alt click to reset something, but I don't think that's that intuitive because it's a specific alt. If I click the other alt, the other alt works here. In the playlist on FL, the other alt does something else. So if I double click here though, it just gets rid of them, which they're not using double click for anything else. So I don't understand why they went with that. Maybe it's just because it's consistency with FL's hotkeys, but it would be a nice option in Sytrus to be able to do that. Now, of course, FM8 can't do RM, but FM8 can also, if you do this, now this is sort of a small thing, but to me it's a big deal. If we were to double click, you can type in a value. Look at that freaking jazz. Look at that. Are you seeing it? Because I'm seeing it. That's powerful. Now, Sytrus, no dice. If you scroll and you accidentally do something like this, you're gonna have to do this and sort of finagle it, turn that to 2, and then get this back to 1. And like it's just, man, that is not what you want to be doing while you're being creative. So that's something that I deeply wish that they would implement at some point. That would be so cool. It's not something like big. It's just something that would be really, really convenient. You can hold down Control and get finer scrolling, but you can't like. I'm not aware of a way to type in a value, so you can't do that. Now, Sytrus has these filters that you can send things into. FM8's got an entire effects module. Now, I go over their effects, and personally, I've never like reached for FM8 saying, oh, I want to use it as an effects module, because you could load it up as a mixer effect too. Because there are free plugins out there that can do stuff somewhat better than this. So I'm not the hugest fan. It's very convenient for internal sound design though. Internal sound design, I'll come here all the time and use stuff. You can save templates. Now there's one other thing so the template saving thing, the fact that you can make basically macros is a big deal. So check it out. Come over here to FM Matrix. Bang. Like if you have a favorite matrix that you like manipulating and you just change modulator, carrier, and ratio relationships, you can select it. Like this is so cool. This is amazing. This is like the best. Over here, nada. You can't do that. It's not here. I don't know where to go for that, but it'd be cool if they added that too. That would be so cool. Now they do have a wave shaper in here, which is basically like every distortion plugin you could probably want, except for it's a linear distortion plugin. So if you wanted a non-linear, but then you'd get into opening up some other kind of something. You go into your other plugins, your private library plugins, and grab your stuff. So they do have a noise option here, but that's equipped in every single one here. Now let's get down to some other things. So I heard someone say, they said this to me. I thought about it and then I was like, no, that doesn't matter. So they have this morphing option to be able to morph parameters between several presets. So you could have a preset down here, 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 and you can morph between them. And you can actually change the amount of seeding that goes on vertically and horizontally. And you can morph getting all these samples and it will interpolate data or whatever. And you'll get some hopefully smooth transitions. Maybe you don't want a smooth transition. And it will morph things like the grid and I believe pitch changes and a few other things. Well, this is really cool and all, but someone tried to say that you could use this similar to this. So you could have like a square wave here, a triangle wave here, a sine wave here, and maybe like a pulse wave here, and morph between them. And that's wrong. You will never get close to what this can do. Like you just won't. And even if maybe you could somehow finagle a way to do something like this, but this is a totally different concept than this. Nope, doesn't count. So Sytrus is great for really specific modulator carrier relationships that are stagnant for the most part. Of course, you can do small modulations, which is most of the time what you're gonna want to do. So it's not like a huge deal, but that's like what Sytrus would be for. FM8 is great for moving relationships, but it also can get really specific with those things. Now, they give you a suite of waveforms to pick from, which is well picked. These people know what they're doing. Now, one thing I can say about both is if you look at FM8's presets, so if we come through here, look at that FM grid, just go. They are using FM galore. If we come over here, this is the FM section. Notice how nothing is showing up there yet. Oh, there's some more. And it's just, as you can see, it's not nearly as involved as the ones here. Like, look at that. That's just a monstrosity. Now, people will say you can't possibly do something like that and deliberately know what you're doing. Even people who are more advanced in FM tend to say that. And I will say that's false. You do have brush stroke ideas of what you want to accomplish, and you know what knobs you need to push to get what you want. Now, sometimes it'll be, just for fun, but if you're really good, if you're really experienced, you can be that deliberate about things, because trust me, you get really bad relationships really fast. Understanding how low ratios work versus high ratios right there is so powerful. You could totally do that. So to those people who say that, I'm like, nah. So both of them have this ability to randomize things but Sytrus allows you to be more fine-tuned with the way you randomize stuff, where over here it's just sort of a general slider. So FM8 can't do that. Now, if you come if you come over to, I wanted to say something about the Arpeggiator. So you've got this ridiculous Arpeggiator. Like, this is totally stupidly ridiculous how powerful this is. Like, Sytrus just can't match this. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. You can come in here and you can create an envelope and do it with the pitch or whatever, the volume, and create an ARP and do cool stuff. Like, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's way, way, way less intuitive than this. This is a monster, like right here. This is great. It also has a spectrum view, so you can see specifically how your spectrum is going to come out up to, what is that, 28 harmonics. So that's a pretty powerful tool. You have various, it pretty much can do, after that, they kind of level out. They can do sort of the same things. So if you're going for moving textures, FM8 is probably your jazz right here. It's probably what you want. You have all sorts of different envelope options as well, and you can link envelopes in interesting ways. In Sytrus, you can just copy envelopes. It's like, as you can see, it really depends on what your goal is, like what you want to do sound design wise. Yeah, you're going to have to take different approaches because this has less subtractive capabilities than, I looked at this reactor and I thought of Native Instruments reactor, but it's spelled with a C. I'm like, that's misspelled. And I was like, wait a second. No, that's spelled right. Okay, so yeah, they're different. They're different styles entirely. So it's, it's up to you which one do I use. I generally go for Sytrus simply because it's what I started using. Like, it's less intuitive on the grid than this is. It's less intuitive in that you can't automate things. Oh, but it has one big thing, a huge thing that I did not mention. Oversampling. You can control the amount of aliasing in your signal, which if you've watched my FM series, that's like a huge, enormous deal. That's one reason why I'm reaching for Sytrus all the time. You can avoid the problem altogether simply by using lower ratios. Notice how not very many ratios go over 50 if they have a high ratio. One other thing that's really nice about FM8 is the fact that you have this page right here. You can see your hertz and ratio settings and your sine and your waves all on one freaking page. Like, man, that would be so cool if they did that for Sytrus, because like right here, you'd have to go through to each operator and change what you want, and then you go over to change the knob, and then go change this, and you have to go here to change the ratios. Like, it's a way powerful tool. Like this as a workflow style, that's a big deal, what you can do right there. But again, Sytrus has just those tone shaping options, and you come over to the oscillator tab and make really specific things that you just cannot do. You can't even take things and convert them to sine harmonics. So let's take it, make something crazy, convert to sine harmonics, and then boom, you can manipulate that from there. And there's a bunch of other options about this tab, which is like this tab by itself is almost a synthesizer. So like, it's up to you what you think is better. Like, I personally, as you can see, I'm really torn about this subject. From a sort of cynical point of view, I don't know, I feel like it's cynical. FM8's just more powerful in that as an FM engine. But as a general plugin, Sytrus is more powerful. Viper's starting a scam for me. Sytrus is just more powerful. It's got subtractive capabilities, RM and FM. Granted, the FM is more limited than it is over here, and it can do additive synthesis as well. So this is like 4 synthesizers crammed into one. So that's like crazy, and it's vectorial, and it's got oversampling. Over here, though, there's one thing I didn't mention that is, if there is something, FM8 could do this, I guess, if you open up multiple FM8s, but even then it's still limited, and there's certain scenarios where it just simply wouldn't work. There's a lot of scenarios, actually. You have an input. So you can load this up as an effect. You can FM stuff in FM8 in your mixer track and use it as a synthesis engine inside your mixer. That's pretty crazy to think about. But it's basically it's a mixer effect now. So you can FM anything that comes in here. Now, if they had multiple inputs, Sytrus would lose in that regard, like hardcore lose for FM capabilities, because if you had multiple inputs, you could use Sytrus's waveform creators. You could put it into multiple ends and then FM it and accomplish the exact same thing. If they added oversampling, this would be definitively, in my opinion, one of the best. Like, this is still super powerful, but it's got other capabilities. That is why its workflow, incorporating all these different styles of synthesis, makes Sytrus what it is. It makes it as powerful as the Sytrus you are used to working with. used to working with. So that's that. Drop your opinion down below. What do you think about this? Did I miss a feature? Like maybe there's a feature you really like. They're like, oh, you didn't even mention this feature and now this video is totally wrong. Or maybe you just have a different opinion. Like, what do you think? I mean, some of you guys are probably going to post like, oh, I think more people like this because of that. I don't want what you think other people's opinions are, because like I could say that all day long. I want to know what your opinion is. It's all up to you. Up to you whether or not, it's your life. Freaking buy the FM synthesizer that you want or get them both. And again, I have a complete series on both. This one's great for really particular timbres. This one's great for moving targets and the ability to move things around. It also, as in my opinion, sort of better for learning matrices, common matrix setups, because you can save your matrix setups and open them up and you can see what other people have done. So there's just a lot more examples of FM than there are in Sytrus, because Sytrus will use its subtractive capabilities much more. And they'll use, here we have an ARP thing. So, if you really know your jazz, you could pretty much get what you want with both, but you will come to very different results in different workflow styles when you become fluent with them. So that was a little counterintuitive. Like, you'll get the result you want, but you'll come to very different results. But it's still true. Like, the workflow impacts things hugely in just knowing its capabilities. So if you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day.